Hey everybody, Paul Dunn here with the Dunn Real Estate Group at eXp Realty, and I just wanted to do a real quick video today and kind of deep dive into a blog post that we just published over here on darcydunn.com. And by the way, if you haven't been to darcydunn.com, go ahead and check it out. We've got some great resources there for you. But anyway, the blog post is titled, "Will Surging Unemployment Crush Tucson Home Sales?" And I thought this was very appropriate because the unemployment numbers are set to come out on Thursday, and they're anticipated to be quite high. And so I know that people are concerned about what impact or what effect that will have on home sales. So I'm going to scroll down the page here and just kind of point this thing out right here. One of the biggest concerns that people have with the unemployment numbers is how badly will the U.S. economy be damaged if people just can't buy homes? So if we think about what might make common sense here, is that if people are unemployed and they don't have jobs, how are they going to buy homes? So if unemployment comes out and it's skyrocketing like it's anticipated to do, and they're kind of forecasting it to be a double-digit unemployment number, then wouldn't that mean, at least by common sense, that we would see quite the opposite effect on home sales, so that home sales would dive? That's kind of what people are thinking out there right now. So again, they're thinking that rapid rise in unemployment means rapid shoot down in home sales. So we're going to address that here in just a second. But it's also important to take a look at some historical data, okay? So that's what this little bullet point is here. So what we wanted to do is take a look at the unemployment rate and how it affected home sales in the past. And by doing that, we're able to kind of meld the two things together, which would be the historical data and what the unemployment numbers are going to be coming out on Thursday. So in looking at what we've seen in the past, that brings us to this chart right here. And as I look at this, this gray line here represents the unemployment numbers, okay? The unemployment trends over time. And the blue bars here represent what has happened to home sales, existing home sales over that same period of time. So if we look at this first number right here, that is 1992 to 1993. And you'll notice that unemployment was increasing. It ended up hitting 7.5%, but at the same time, home sales started to increase right here too. So you could tell that unemployment didn't, at least during that point in time, did not have a negative impact on, or negative effect on home sales. Now, if we look at number 2 here, this bullet point, that's 2001 to 2003. And we saw unemployment grow up to about 6%. And at the same time, home sales were still going up. So we could see there, that's two instances where we've had a pretty good increase in unemployment, but also saw an increase in home sales. Now that brings us to this area right here. And you'll notice that this is all grayed out. And I'll tell you why why here just in a sec. But this is the time between 2007, 2010, basically the Great Recession, right? And we saw unemployment spike to 9.6%. And during that same time, when the unemployment was growing, the home sales dramatically dropped as well. Okay, so it did exactly what people are expecting to happen. And that was just during that one point in time. But we're going to talk about that point in time here in just a sec too. But if we look over here at point number 4, we saw 2015 to 2019, we saw unemployment actually quite substantially decrease, but yet home sales were relatively flat. Interesting, huh? So if we look back to this point here, we've got this little red box here that explains why we grade this out. And you can see that lending standards tightened significantly after the housing crash of '08. So you combine significant lending tightening guidelines, making it virtually impossible for people to buy homes, then of course we're going to see home sales, existing home sales drop. So that's really what happened there. So in other words, somebody who was able to buy a home in 2005 was not able to buy a home in 2010. So then I know that you're going to ask, why is this time different? So I think that it's important to look at this chart right here. And this is going to actually compare three different points, not four, 3 different points in time. One is the Great Depression, one is the Great Recession, and the other is the current crisis that we're going through right now. So the reason that we're comparing these three things is because there are folks out there that are afraid that we are going to be entering into a Great Depression or another Great Recession. So it's important to look at those periods of time and what was going on in unemployment. So if we look at this period of time, you'll notice that all the way from 1930 to 1935, which is a period of 6 years, unemployment was pretty significant. And in 4 of those years, it was over 20%. Now, that's a staggering unemployment number, folks. And so you'll see that this was a half a decade of massive unemployment. So if we fast forward to the Great Recession from 2009 to 2011, you'll see that we had 3 years where it was substantial and over 8.5% or even over 9%. Okay, and so if we come over to 2020, which is where it is right now, the Goldman Sachs actually is predicting that we're going to see unemployment hit about 15%. And then in 2021 and 2022, we're going to see a pretty significant decrease in unemployment. So as you see these charts right here, you'll notice something pretty significantly different about them. If we look at the Great Depression and the Great Recession, you'll see that they were multi-year significant events of unemployment. So in other words, in the Great Depression, we had 5 years of pretty significant unemployment. In the Great Recession, it was only 3. But here in 2020, it's anticipated to be an event. So it's the big difference maker here is how long will this last? Okay, and if we go along the lines of what Goldman Sachs is predicting, this is going to be basically lasting through 2020, and then we'll see really good unemployment hit in 21 and 2022. And if we look back at this chart right here, you can tell definitely that unemployment numbers do not typically have an effect on home sales. And so if we partner that with what we've got here, where this is anticipated to be a spike in a one-time event, the experts are telling us that we're not going to see a drop in existing home sales. They're saying that it possibly will be flat. We might even see a slight increase. So I thought it was important to bring these numbers out to you and share this with you, and it really let you know what's going on out there in the market. And as the week progresses, I'll be having additional videos like this that'll kind of deep dive into some other additional information. And I'm sure Thursday or Friday we'll probably talk about what those actual unemployment numbers are. So be sure and subscribe or like the page or whatever so that you can make sure and get the future videos. So with that being said, I appreciate you watching this and taking the time out of your day to spend some time with me and watch these numbers. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach on out. You know how to get a hold of me. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.